Welcome to the Pongcast, brought to you by the Pong-A-Thon. We are a movement that exists solely to see the issue of modern-day slavery end. Right now around the world, there are estimated to be more than 40 million slaves, and we believe this is not okay. We fight modern-day slavery by creating awareness of the issue, but primarily through the fundraising of monies that goes to support 7 incredible organisations that tackle the issue of modern-day slavery in different ways. We raise funds through the marathon table tennis events, or what we like to call Pong-A-Thons, where communities all across Australia and the US will engage and play table tennis together, some for 2 hours, some for 24 hours, to raise money to fight modern day slavery. Since 2011, we've raised nearly $2.7 million, and we're very proud of the contribution that we have made in this global fight. In our episodes together, we will explore what's happening in the movement, as well as have incredible interviews and conversations with our partner organisations where they discuss the impact that is happening on the ground. We hope you enjoy it. Well, welcome to the 5th Pongcast for 2021. You're here with myself, David, and my incredibly good-looking co-host, Matt Maudlin. How are you, Matt?
Hi, David. I'm good. I am good looking, and you're looking good too.
Thanks, mate. I can't believe it's already November. It's quite astonishing that the end of the year just seems to have crept up on us. I'm not sure how you feel about it, but yeah, I'm still pinching myself that it's already November.
Yeah, it's not really, is it?
So we are, I guess it's fair to say, Matt, we're at the tail end of the Pong campaign. Now, typically in a normal year, we'd be absolutely done and dusted by November. But this year is by no stretch of the imagination standard. Because of lockdowns, we've actually had a lot of events postponed. So, Matt, you're across it. You're close to our events than anyone else. So maybe give us an update of kind of where things are at and how many more events we have to go.
Sure thing. I guess first thing to say, David, is that we're sitting, as of right now, on $343,000, which is a truly incredible amount of money when you consider that last year, in the first pandemic year, as it were, we ended up with $346,000. We're clearly going to go past that, and we kind of estimate now we're going to be somewhere around the 375.
That would be there. That'd be extraordinary.
Yeah, and David, aside from the amazing generosity we've seen this year, one of the really encouraging things has been, especially with the New South Wales venues, as New South Wales got shut down around the middle of the year, a lot of the Pong events that were scheduled for August, September, October got postponed or cancelled.
Of course, yeah.
Fortunately, most of those venues have now decided to run in November and through even to the middle of December, meaning, as you said, normally would be just about done and dusted by this time of year. We've still got a dozen venues nationwide, but predominantly in the eastern states now, still to run, going right up to December the 11th, which is something we've never seen before.
Yeah.
So it feels, I guess, David, that this is the longest, most elongated campaign that we've ever had. But boy, oh boy, it's all worthwhile, because every single dollar that goes in, that comes in, ends up heading overseas and to our wonderful partners doing the work that they're doing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think you're right. It is really the longest campaign that we've ever really had. But hey, that's a beautiful thing. It's a great thing to watch communities all across Australia ponging, and I'm keen to. I mean, Matt, if we hit 370,000, that'd be extraordinary. So we're estimating, I guess, another 30,000 to come through, which would be a fantastic result.
Yeah. And I guess, David, we should also say that if somebody's watching the Pongcast and they're thinking, "Oh, I haven't ponged this year," don't think it's too late. Just grab yourself a table, grab some of your friends, family, people, random people off the street. I mean, everybody loves to pong.
Yeah, no, 100%. And maybe, it's a great point, Matt. Maybe you're part of a church community or a community that's ponged in the past, and for whatever reason, due to COVID or otherwise, haven't ponged this year. There's nothing stopping you from running a much smaller event in your garage. It's what I'm doing later this month, Matt. I'm hosting a pong in my garage and backyard, and just inviting some friends over. So it really doesn't have to be. It can look as small or as big as you want it to. There's no real set structure for how a Pong needs to look. So yeah, it's a great blessing that we're still seeing Pong events running and registering. And I think Matt, we actually saw a new event register this morning. So they're still coming in, which is great.
Yeah.
And I think what are we on overall? How many events have registered this year? 50 odd?
57.
Okay. Yeah. No, fantastic. So plenty to be excited about, and we obviously look forward to announcing at the end of the year where this campaign lands. But yeah, we're looking at around 370,000, which is pretty extraordinary. So Matt, we've got a pretty special interview today. We've actually already recorded it, so we know how good it is already. But before I let you, I guess, preface that and introduce that interview, just want to give an update on Impact, what's been achieved since we had our last Pongcast, which was about a month and a half ago, I believe. So there has been quite a bit that's happened. So I'm going to highlight two stories. There are others which we'll post on social media, but two that I want to highlight. And one of them is actually quite significant, Matt. So one of our partners based in Cambodia have been trying to get this guy prosecuted who has been abusing boys, a dozen or so boys, just outside Phnom Penh. And finally, last month, I think it was the 26th of October, this guy was finally arrested, which is incredible news because this abuse has been known for some time, but they just haven't been able to see prosecution occur. And so our partner is now working with a lot of the parents of the kids that were being abused. And I guess the sad thing is it was really an abuse of trust. We obviously won't go into the details of what the circumstances were for issues of privacy, but a lot of these parents didn't know what was happening. And so they thought that this man was looking after their children's well-being, and obviously that was the furthest thing that was happening. So huge breakthrough, Matt, in that regard with that case. Obviously, there's going to be a process of rehabilitation for the boys. There's going to be a process of actual getting a conviction across the line. Obviously, in some of these other foreign jurisdictions, the court process can be a little bit futile in the sense that sometimes convictions don't occur at all, or they occur, but not to the, not to the standard that would occur here in Australia, or the US for that matter. So that's certainly something to, if you're a person of faith, certainly something to pray into. But incredible result. And that is really something that you guys, the whole Pong community has enabled because we represent quite a significant portion of funding for this partner. So, this is absolutely something that you can claim as your impact. So that's the first thing that I wanted to mention, Matt. And the second thing was, I guess, more of a simple story, but this is from one of our partners in Thailand. They were called to assist a victim who was already rescued out of a circumstance of exploitation, and they were called in by the enforcement authorities to provide care and to receive this person's statement. And basically assist them through the process of getting compensation as well as testifying against the abuser. There's a funny story, Matt. Not a story. There's an analogy that people that work in the victim assistance space where they say, imagine think about your most awkward sexual moment, have it in your head, and then find someone randomly on your phone book and call them and tell them about it. And they use that analogy because it is basically what someone of sexual abuse has to go through in the court process. 10 times worse than that. They've got to tell their story of abuse to a million strangers, and it is a horrific process, but they've got to do it, right? So it's by no means a simple process. These victims need to be assisted. They need to have care, and they need to really be looked after really, really well. So one of our partners in Thailand basically took this person through this process and was awarded a significant amount of compensation. And our partner made it clear to them that, hey, you could probably get more, but it will it'll mean that you'll need to testify in open court and you'll have to do all these different things. And this person decided that they didn't want to do that, just because what they required was closure. It wasn't so much about the money, and so they left it at that. And so they really empowered the person to make the decision themselves. I don't know about you, Matt, but just hearing that story was just it just encouraged me, because it's it's about the whole process. Of course, rescuing people out of situations of vulnerability is obviously super important, but then it's the process after. And so being able to walk alongside people that have been abused in the system, and really make sure that they feel heard and supported is really important. So that's a very different kind of work that we're enabling, but very powerful and just as important as the actual physical rescue.
David, as you said, for anybody watching this who's ponged this year or in previous years, this is your Pong dollars at work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Changing one life at a time.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's exactly right. So we will keep these stories coming. I really encourage you to, whenever you're considering donating or ponging for 2022, or you may be watching this and you haven't ponged yet, have these stories in the front of your mind, because this is really why we do what we do. Awesome. All right. Matt, tell us about the interview that we're going to air as a part of this podcast episode.
It's exciting and it's a bit different, isn't it? I mean, I think I'm right, David, in saying that the four major interviews that we've featured so far across the Pongcast season have all been with high up, heavy hitting people from our partners, which is completely wonderful, and what a thrill to have had them on. But we are going to meet Ella and Bella, which is wonderful in itself, the Ella and Bella show. And these are two young people who have already ponged this year, but done some very personally brave and personally very creative things to help raise money for Pong and to help raise awareness. And it's absolutely lovely that we are now able, through the Pongcast, to feature two such people. And I'm sure there's many more creative people out there who are doing creative things that we get to hear about, but we might talk about that on the other side of the interview. And so I guess without further ado, David, it gives me great pleasure to introduce to the Pongcast viewers Ella and Bella.
Awesome.
Bella and Ella, welcome to the Pongcast, and it must feel wonderful for you guys to know that you're the first joint interview that we've done. No pressure whatsoever. Okay. As David and I introduced at the start of the Pongcast, you've done some pretty amazing, creative, crazy things to help raise funds for this Pong campaign. And we deliberately didn't say what those things were. So Ella, I'll start with you. Welcome to the Pongcast.
Hey.
And tell me where you are and what you did to raise funds.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I am in a suburb called Nunawading in Melbourne. And I actually grew my hair, Matt. No, I'm kidding. People in the video will be able to get that quip. No, I shaved my hair for the Pong.
Amazing. Okay, we'll come back and we'll talk about that in detail. But it's my privilege to welcome Bella to the Pongcast. Welcome, Bella.
Thanks, Matt.
And where do we find you this fine morning?
This morning, I am in residence in Kew with 50 other people. So hopefully we don't get any distractions along the way. Have my roommate come in with a coffee or something, but
that's okay.
I know it's not a hard life. I'll tell you that.
And Bella, you did something incredibly creative. Tell us about that, please.
Yeah. Well, I was actually encouraged by some of the students that are here at Kew Student Residence that were a part of the Pong-A-Thon to do something creative artistically. We kind of just had the freedom to do whatever we wanted, to be able to try and auction something off for the Ping Pong-A-Thon and try and raise funds for it. And as soon as I heard, just my friends talking about it, and they actually came up and asked me, would you be willing to do an artwork? I just jumped right on board. I hadn't done art for so long. And I just thought, what a fantastic opportunity to do something that I love, that is meaningful and purposeful and had such a fantastic reason behind it, and was going to be raising funds for such a fantastic cause too. So I ended up doing a Aboriginal art piece that was auctioned off for the Ping Pong-A-Thon as well.
Wonderful, absolutely wonderful.
Cool.
So Ella, let's dive into a bit of your backstory leading up to the Choptober, which was a great name, by the way. Now, if my memory is right, you first participated in a Pong event in about 2017 at Mill Park.
Yeah.
Do I have that right?
Yeah, you sure do.
Good. And have you been connected with Pong one way or another since then, or have you been in a bit of a hiatus and this was your first journey back into Pong?
Well, I think when I did the Pong back in, it would have been 2018, I think, Matt. But I think I was in year 11 at the time. And that, I was really excited by the Pong at that event. We had a whole heap of teenagers come in and participate in the Pong. And it was really awesome to see. It was a really awesome event. We had a speaker from one of the Pong's partners come along and talk about modern slavery and what they were doing to free people for that. And I was just like, wow, this is amazing. I want to be a part of this. And so the next year in year 12 consisted of me begging my teacher at school to let us do the Pong, which never happened. But I've always had, for the past couple of years since I did that Pong, I've had something in me that's like, I want to do another Pong event sometime. I want to continue to support the Pong and do something for them. And so I have been wanting to shave my head for a while, and do it for something good. And my kind of two passions for the Pong and for shaving my head for something kind of came together. And I was like, I so want to shave my hair for the Pong.
And Ella, how long was your hair?
In centimeters, or it was probably a couple of inches past my shoulders.
Okay.
I think from memory it was around 30 centimeters.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talk us through the day and the shave itself and how things have been since then, because we all know that people with no hair are the best looking and have the most fun. I mean, I can attest to that. So I'm just working on an assumption that your life has got even better since shaving your head.
Yeah, cool. Well, I'll talk you through. Well, I had a week match between deciding. Well, I decided in August that I wanted to shave my hair on October 9th, and that was in my head for a while, and it was a thing. And then when October 9th came around, we were still in lockdown. I was like, whatever, it's okay, we're still going to do it. And that meant that I had about a week to put things together and run this whole campaign around the shaving of my head and get fundraising together. So that was a really fun week of connecting with people and telling them what I was doing, and that kind of thing. But on the day we ran a live stream of my hair being,
and it was a great live stream too.
It was so great. And I think what stands out about the live stream is that I got a whole heap of my friends and family and people around me watching this live stream, and also people who were supporting me along the way filmed these little 30-second videos of them just encouraging me. And there's that was so great to be able to have that community come around me and support me in that cause, and a lot of them like were just as passionate about what I was doing as I was, and we got to, as a community, support the Pong, and free people, and protect and care for those people who've been impacted by modern slavery, and that was just the best.
Absolutely amazing. And Ella, I'm sure you're too modest to say it, so I'll say it. You raised over $6,000.
Yeah.
Which is a quite ridiculous amount of money.
And I could not have done on my own. Like, that's a community around me who came around and supported me.
And that's Pong working at its best, 100%.
Yeah.
And you know, we talk about it takes 1,500 Australian dollars to bring one person out of slavery into freedom, and that's a figure. You know, we know it's a crude figure, but it's a figure that one of our partners provides us with. So, based on that, you brought 4 people out of slavery and into freedom. And as we know, when one person comes out of slavery, the impact is far more far-reaching than just that one person. It's the community that they're a part of. So amazing, Ella. And is the plan now to regrow your hair to previous lengths?
I don't know. I don't think I have a plan at the minute. Yeah, I think I'm waiting and seeing. We'll see.
Fantastic. Okay, I'll come back to you in a bit, Ella. But Bella, tell me more. I mean, David will have already put up the painting so people can see it. It was astonishing. Can you talk me through the thought process behind the painting?
100%. It was such a fantastic journey. As I said, I hadn't done serious art since year 12. And a lot of the people around me were like, Bella, like, you got to get back into it. And so it was fantastic timing, because a group of people around me were just like, Bella, like, really, like, you could do something with your art kind of at that time. And I was like, oh, you know, I'm studying psychology. So I'm like, that's at the back of my mind. I'm like, I need to be focusing in on doing, you know, my university at the moment. And so during that time, when the Pong-A-Thon came around, and my friends kind of came up to me and they were like, would you consider doing an artwork? I went straight, like, immediately, I was like, well, I know that this is for a cause that has such a strong meaning behind it, that is wanting to free people that are stuck in slavery and give them opportunity for a new trajectory of their life. And I was like, okay, well, yeah, I kind of just immediately thought, I've got to do an Aboriginal piece that tells a strong, deep cultural story, to say that, you know, I guess to tell a story through, I guess, a form that has so much depth behind it already. And so, to be honest, when I first started thinking about what am I going to do, I had a picture in my mind of what I kind of wanted it to look like. And as I kept going, a story developed alongside that, which was honestly the best part of doing the artwork, because to have a piece of art just look nice, I just think having a story back it up and having an intention behind it just made it all the more meaningful. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I had people, because I live with 50 other people, I was just having conversations with people about the artwork all the time. People like, what does it mean? What are you doing it for? And that really helped me kind of build the story as the days went by. And so, yeah, the meaning, I guess, behind it was using an Aboriginal art form, which I'm so blessed to be able to do, because on my dad's side, we have Aboriginal heritage, and mm-hmm. I'm learning more and more about, I guess, that lost part of our history in a way. And just using that as a way to depict a story of someone that is in slavery, and trying to tell the story that when someone's stuck in slavery, it doesn't mean that they are hopeless or don't have opportunities or pathways available to them. But when someone is stuck, we need someone to intercede for us and to help connect us to opportunities and pathways that do exist, but at that moment we are unable, like, you know, that person is unable to connect themselves to. And so the point of the artwork was to tell this beautiful story of having all these communities that can come together and financially support one person that is stuck in slavery and connect them to new opportunities for them to have a fresh start to a life, to you know, providing them with opportunities and pathways. And yeah, it was just so fantastic diving more into my own family history, but also to understand the purpose of the Ping Pong-A-Thon and the aim that it has to support people that are in slavery and to rescue them from that, and to actually, you know, stand up for people and help them in a place where, you know, we as having privilege, we can actually come together and support people around us.
So Bella, we often talk in the Pong of we're the people who need to stand in the gap and to show up and, you know, go into bat for the individual who's in slavery, and that is exactly what you're talking about here, isn't it?
100%.
Yeah. Now, there was a twist to your painting, though, wasn't there? Like, we should say that the painting was put up for auction to the highest bidder, and it raised $1,000, which is absolutely amazing. Should have been 10,000 because it's that good, but 1,000's a good start. So congratulations on raising that. But tell us about the twist, how the painting wasn't quite finished.
Yeah, totally. So this is actually, definitely need to have a shout out to my other friend Bella in this situation. Class, we've got too many Ellas and Bellas in this Pongcast. So yes, before the artwork was auctioned, there was a part of the painting that symbolically it looks like an upside down U, and that represents a person in Aboriginal artwork. And so that person, there was a gap between the person and these other dots that represented pathways. And so the purpose of that was, once we had, well, I guess I'll go back from that actually. So there was a gap between the person and the pathways, and that was to show one person that is stuck in slavery having pathways available to them, but because they are stuck, they are unable to connect themselves to those pathways. And so the whole point of the Ping Pong-A-Thon is for people to raise funds and awareness so that we can connect these people that are stuck in slavery to opportunities that do exist for them, and to show the fact that these people aren't hopeless. Like, they just need someone to intercede and step in for them. So once the artwork was auctioned, we decided that it would be a fantastic idea to actually complete the artwork by connecting those dots and those pathways to the individual in the middle, to represent the fact that that person is no longer stuck when someone actually helps. So that was definitely all thanks to my friend Bella to having a discussion with her. And
So is that part now complete, Bella? Has that finished, and the painting's been sent on to the winning bid?
Yep, they have.
Wow. And please tell me that the recipient is terribly pleased with their piece of art.
Yeah, they are stoked.
Yeah, good.
Stoked, which is amazing.
Okay. I was going to ask a question about where to from here, but I won't do that. I'll actually make a comment, and that is, Ella, Bella, you've both done an amazing thing, one way or another. Very brave, very creative. Both highly community-oriented fundraisers, and that is everything that that the Pong is. It's about community, and it's about continuing to spread the message of what Pong is and why Pong is. And through what you're doing, so many more, and what you've done, so many more people have heard about Pong. So many more people have perhaps for the first time started to understand something about 45.8 million slaves in the world. Perhaps for the first time, people have started to think, boy, I could actually have something of an impact, even if I contribute to impact and affect one person. And that's a wonderful thing. Now, I should say to our Pongcast audience that David and I have, since Ella and Bella's fundraisers, we've had conversations with both Ella and Bella, and one way or another, they're going to stay connected to the Pong as we go into 2022. Nothing I'm allowed to say right now, I'm afraid. But this is the Pong at work. This is how we roll, really, and this is how the community grows. And the more and more people who know about the Pong and what we do, the more Pong events that occur, be they the traditional table tennis events or the slightly different events that you guys have put on this year. And we never shy away from the fact that we're here to raise money, and we're here to raise money so that we can pass it on to our 7 wonderful partners working overseas who are on the ground. We recognize we're just the middlemen, doing an important job, but we're still the middlemen. We can pass that money on to those people who are working tirelessly to bring people out of slavery. So I think I'm going to leave it there. I'd like a final word from you both, though, about what you've done, about what you see in your future with Pong. Absolutely putting you on the spot here, and I know I told you all the questions would be easy. You go first, Bella.
Yeah, sure. I guess the final thing I want to say is I actually just want to recognize both yourself and David in this, Matt, as well. Thank you for being so proactive in helping Ella and I see that there are creative ways that we can be supporting the other people in our community, whether we know them personally or they are living at a far distance from us, and recognizing that we have the ability and skills and gifts to be able to give creatively. And that this is a joyful process in doing so and helping raise awareness for this as well. So thank you guys for having such an amazing vision and being so proactive about that and helping us become engaged in this vision as well. So I just want to say thank you for that. It's been an awesome journey doing this. I have loved it. I've learned so much about the Pong-A-Thon through it and the amazing fundraiser that it is. It's just a fantastic cause, and I'm so excited to be a part of it in the future as well.
Thank you, Bella. I've got 3 things to say to that. One is thank you. Secondly is you are very welcome. And thirdly is such beautiful words. Ella, how on earth are you gonna match that? Give it your best shot.
Do it, Ella.
Bella thanked you, Matt, and the people who have supported us in the Pong. But I want to particularly thank I think the Pong is so beautiful in the sense that it's working to do such big things. Like modern slavery is such a big thing and such an awful thing. And yet the Pong consists of groups of people and individuals who are doing little things to work towards making a big impact for people who we don't even know. And so I really want to acknowledge the beautiful people who have both for Bella and I and the things that we've done, and also the whole all of the people who have participated in the Pong this year. There's Bella and I are just a sample of that. And like that's a whole heap of people who have done a whole heap of little things. And I, like in my fundraising campaign, said all the time, like, I really, really love when I get the tiniest little donations come through, because that's just a symbol of a little action that's leading to a bigger impact. And like people freeing them, like communities coming together to do something beautiful. So yeah, I really want to like acknowledge those people who have donated, and yeah, thank them, both for Bella and I and all of the Pong people who have participated and done a little thing, because my hair shaving's a little thing, like it's not much, but it's so awesome to see people come together to do something big.
Bella, Ella, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for your creativity and your fundraising. When I talk to you both and I think about the future of the Pong, I look at people like you and I think, yeah, Pong's in pretty good hands moving forwards. And yes, you're the two of you are but a small sample of our broader community, but a good sample too. And your world changes lives. Many lives will be very different because of your art and your bravery in having your haircut. You've both done a wonderful thing, and I know from David and myself, we thank you, and we very much look forward to continuing to journey with you both in Pong, hopefully long into the future. So thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Wow, Matt, that was firstly awesome interview. I loved it. And it's so, I think this is really what the Pong's about. Hey, it's about highlighting individual stories like this with such creativity. It's what the whole Pong movement is about. It's such a joy to watch.
Yeah, they're great, aren't they?
Yeah, they really are.
I think of myself, David, in my early 20s, which was, of course, many centuries.
No, it was only a few years ago, wasn't it?
They're a long way on from where I was at that age, mate. Absolutely inspiring. I guess, David, that we almost discovered Ella and Bella by accident. It was only as I was scrolling through, looking at our registered players one night, that I saw a couple of things in the descriptions that just took my eye. Then we followed up, and then here we are. But it's making us realise, isn't it, that there's clearly many more people out there who are doing many equally wonderfully creative and brave things, and we want to hear about them.
100%, yeah.
Because we can't feature you doing your crazy, brave, creative thing if we don't know about it. So please do get in touch with us. And yes, community ping pong events will always be the beating heart of what Pong is.
Yeah.
But if you're doing something that is just that little bit different, do please let us know. Every dollar counts, doesn't it? And how wonderful to have Ella and Bella who are on board, and David who we've spoken to in the last few weeks, and both of those young people are going to be involved with us one way or another next year. So watch this space. Exciting.
Well, I think that's a good place to conclude the Pongcast. We'll have one more episode for the year, so please look forward to that. That'll launch sometime early December to wrap the year up. But yeah, thanks so much for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you at our next Pongcast.
We do. See ya.
See ya. Hey, thanks so much for joining us for this month's Pongcast episode. We really hope you enjoyed it. To learn more about the Pong and to join this fight against modern day slavery, please visit our website, Pong-A-Thon.com. We're also very active on Facebook, so please follow us there, facebook.com/Ping-Pong-A-Thon. And we look forward to joining you in the next Pongcast episode.